Architectural Builders Supply is pleased to present you with this recording of the technical question that is listed in the title of this video.
This call may be monitored and recorded for quality assurance.
Yourself?
All right, thank you. So I have this quote here, 219500, and it's for this surface door closer, 4040 XP. And the question was, you recommended it in lieu of the dormer door closer because we went to those 5x12 hinges. And I was just curious why you thought that why you don't think that the dormer closer will work and the LCN will. I'm wondering.
Well, that's because of the hinge that you have. First of all, Dorma does not make a closer for your application. They don't make one. So, wanting to solve your problem, I went to the manufacturer that was easiest that I knew would have a product, and that was LCN.
Okay. So, I mean, just so I understand, is that because with the dormer closer, the arm won't reach out far enough, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not an expert in the sense of mechanical engineering and working at a manufacturer, but I know I can visualize in my mind that the length. So you've got 5x12 hinges. So when that door swings out and it gets to 90 degrees, that door closer body is going to be further away from the frame than it would otherwise. And you and I understand that.
Yeah.
And you and I could also say to yourself, well, I bet the standard closer ain't going to be long enough to reach. And when I say the standard closer, I mean the arm. So what you want to do is, in that quote that I sent you, refer to the technical drawing I also attached, and you'll see how the main arm component of the door closer arm is clearly unusual.
Okay. I'm looking at the email now that has that. So I just see the quote. I don't see the technical drawing attached. Where do I see that?
Well, it would be in your email. I mean, it would be an attachment. I'll send it again, absolutely.
Yeah, if you wouldn't mind sending it again.
Yeah. Yeah,
because, I mean, we already got the dormer in stock, so I have to send a change order out for this. It's another $622.89.
Well, the error comes on whoever wrote the hardware set.
Yeah, exactly. I know, and it's the architect. So I just want to be able to explain it, and you kind of said the same thing I thought. The arm's not going to reach. And Dorma mechanic, I asked the supplier if Dorma had a special replacement part or an adapter, but no, they do not.
Very true, they don't. Yeah. It's just because you got a wider hinge, and every little thing matters when it comes to mechanics. I've learned, and we have to be mindful of it.
Yep. We had a feeling this was going to be a problem. If you resend that to me, that would be great, because I would just like to look at that attachment, because I want to try to explain this to the architect, John De Niro from FSI. He's the specifier, so.
Yeah. So, now, having said that, and I did call last week and left a message because your son asked that I return a call. I was going to say in that conversation, if you know a welder and you buy yourself another arm that you can rip your part out of, you should be able to make all this work. So you'd have to have a really
weld an extension on the arm?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just like, it doesn't seem worth it to me, personally. I mean, to me, you got to bring in a welder. You might as well get a closer that just does the job. Yeah,
true. And I don't disagree, but my background has been a lot of different customer types. I got guys that can conjure voodoo and black magic, and I got other guys that are the opposite.
Well, I mean, if it's coming out of your pocket and you could fix it and you know how to weld, I mean, by all means,
Yeah. The other issue though is if that dorma is already installed, you're probably not going to want. You're going to want to consider that a little bit more because you got holes in the door and frame that you need to work with.
Oh yeah, no, we didn't
Okay.
install the dormer yet. We're good. I didn't get that from you. Did you send it to Matt or Rich at Franco?
I sent it to Matt.
Oh yeah. I'm Rich at FrancoRestoration.com.
Yeah. So I'm sending it again now. You're not going to get it instantaneously while we're on the phone. My email's just not that fast.
Okay.
But I have just clicked send, so you'll be able to see it and know what you're contending with, and then go back to the people higher up on the food chain than us and say here's why it won't work.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So look, Rich, I do appreciate your. Oh, here you go. I just got it.
You got it so quickly? Awesome.
It wasn't as slow as you thought. So
no, it's not. Good.
There's a PDF here. I just double clicked it. Oh, okay, yeah. 40/40 special cut and weld arms. So these come in the package. Installed parallel arm. So like, what am I looking at here? I see cut and weld. Oh, you have to cut and weld in a section there?
Well, I don't, but the factory is showing us how it's done, meaning they do it. They provide it. I don't know how they do it, but someone probably does that.
Oh, so this will be made custom for a 5x12 throw.
Yeah, when you look at the part number on the quote, it'll have the LCN, blah, 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 blah. Part of it is ST-2575, so ST stands for special template. That arm is only, will it work for a 10-inch? Yeah, it probably will because you got some adjustment. But when you come up with a ST number or a special template, it's the exact application. They ran the AutoCAD or however they do it, to know that it'll work.
Oh, that's amazing, Rich.
Yeah.
That's great. Yeah, if I hadn't thought about it and I just threw caution to the wind, we'd have had the holes in the door and we'd be plugging them up and sanding them down and messing up the finishes on the outside gets painted, but the closer happens to go inside, right? So, because it's installed parallel arms, so. Excellent. Okay. Regular head and tube assembly. Yep. Okay. So I see what they do. Okay. Yep. And that LCN number ST2575, that's one of the numbers on the quote.
It's a component of the entire part number.
Excellent. Okay. In case you get a call from John De Niro at FSI, you're going to know why, but I'm going to try to explain this to him as best I can.
Well, I don't think I'll do any better than you, but he's welcome to call.
Basically, we've already, this is a special arm that's cut and welded to allow for a 5x12 hinge. It's been scientifically proven by a CAD or however they do it in there. With their techs.
If he's not comfortable with me or you saying it, tell him to call LCN. They're in Princeton, Illinois. Get it right from the horse's mouth.
I hear that. Okay. Rich, thanks a million. We'll be in touch.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Morning, Rich.
Hi, it's Richard calling you back about the closer arm.
Parallel arm, and it has to open 180 degrees, and I just wanted to know if you were considering those criteria.
In terms of the PA mount, yes. Getting it to go to 180, I don't know if it'll go to 180. That I'll have to confirm.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons why we used the 5x12 hinges, so that the door could go to 180, because it is for an animal hospital, and I don't know, they may need to get that door all the way open, but I would like to know what the limits of the swing would be, considering there are no obstructions, because if there's going to be a limitation, I would love to present that to the architect now.
Awesome. I'll work with the manufacturer, and I will ask for a review of this.
Yeah, Rich, you're awesome. I got to tell you, I really appreciate that. And by the way, I'm going to return the dormer and get a credit for it. And as much as ethically speaking, I should order the hardware from the local guy here in town, Simon's Hardware, where I got all my other hardware for the door before I met you. But in this case, your service is worth its weight in gold, and I'm going to talk my way out of that. I'm putting this piece of hardware through you. So I know it's no big deal. It's only one piece of hardware, but I just want to let you know I'm not going to waste your time.
I thank you. Quite honestly, I expected no less, so thank you very much. I'll find out the answer.
All right. Well, yeah, no, I mean, the guy who sold me the dormer wants to give me credit for it, but he's trying to get me what I need. He doesn't seem to have, he doesn't seem to understand exactly what we want. And, I just want you to know that I appreciate it. That's all.
I look forward to earning that. Thank you very much.
You got it, Rich. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
What's doing?
Wanted to let you know that I heard back from LCN, and the closer will go to 180 degree. We must define that at the time of order along with the hinge width, and they'll make sure that it can be templated for that.
Perfect. Okay, that's fantastic news. That closer that you specified, did it include hold open in its functions?
No, we can do a
Can we
hold open
specify
arm
that?
on that. It would, yeah, we can change that. That can be done. So there is a couple of hold open options. One is going to have the cush, the spring relief at the end, or the standard hold open would have a dead stop. Which do you think would be more appropriate?
I'm not familiar with the first one you mentioned, but I think I'm trying to think, like what's easiest to use. However it's easy, because most of these people that are going to be using the door, I'm going to say this in the best of ways, but not trying to be unkind, but they're probably a little inept when it comes to stuff. Most people are with door closers, So I guess we'll have to show them how to use it. But is there something? Is it easier to do it one way than another? Because I have to be honest, I've never actually used the hold open function on a door opener, a door closer.
Yeah. So there's, the one that's pretty typical has got the big T handle up on the arm. You'll see that in heavy duty applications like schools.
Yeah. Oh, do you have to turn that?
Well, to release it, you do. Some people like to be able to reach up and release it rather than yank the door off of the hold open point. So what I would like to do is just email you the page of the hold open or of the arms, and you can quickly see them and maybe even ask your clients.
Or the architect.
Yes. And, if it was me, I'd like the T handle because I don't want to put so much stress, and in this case, not only the door and the frame, but that massive hinge. I'd rather be able to reach up, disengage, and let the door close. But when you're dealing with animals, because I was once an animal when it comes to door hardware, we do have to try to help them find a more gentle way. So I'll email this to you. Okay.
All right. Two people called me while I was on the phone with you, Rich. It's so crazy when it rains, it pours. So, all right, yeah, that sounds fantastic. That's great news. This has been quite a ride with this door opening. I've never quite experienced anything like it, but you learn along the way and you get a lot of insight, so it's good. Yes, if you could send me the options on the hold open, that would be fantastic. And you recommend the T handle, right? Because you reach up and actually just basically have to operate something on the arm to hold it open.
That is correct. That is my recommendation. And I know it's a good recommendation because you see it in schools. It's where they want to bring down the possibility for stressing everything. Okay. Well, I'll recommend the T handle then probably. There's no reason why they can't reach up there and, use that function. So,
have to. Well, let's run it by the architect, and I'll be in touch. I should be able to finalize this pretty quickly.
Excellent. I'll send you an email very shortly.
Thanks a mil.
Yes, sir. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.
How you doing?
Good. Yourself?
Good, thank you. So I guess my question is, Rich is suggesting to use the 440 XP 3049 SCNS, and it has a spring hold open cushion stop arm, and it's for abusive application. It has the handle control is manual for the hold open. Now, what does that mean exactly? Does it mean that when it's 180 degrees, I control the handle, and then the door stays open, and then when I want to release it, I just release it and it closes, and it only has one position or two. It's either open, it stays open, or it doesn't. Is that what that means, or it can be adjusted at different speeds or different?
So the hold open function is automatic when you're opening the door. In order to pull it off the hold open position, you then reach up and twist the turn handle.
So when I open the door at 180 degrees, it's going to stay open.
When you open the door and push it to the hold open point, it's going to stay open.
Okay. And the lever, the handle is used to release it? Can you explain that again?
Yeah, the pulling it off the hold open point is done manually by reaching up to the turn handle and turning it.
So, John, that may not work for you on the street like this in an elevator shaft, because if you're afraid that somebody might not go up there in a hurry and not release the door, you're correct if you're thinking, yes, the door will remain open until somebody comes back downstairs and releases that key handle to release the closer and let it shut.
Okay, so someone opens the door, it will stay open until you release it.
That's right.
Okay. Now, is there another one that has a setting where, I don't know, you can adjust the setting? Let's say I want to keep the door open, 20 seconds, whatever makes sense for someone who has enough time to, for the wheelchair to go in.
John, just to interject, I don't think that's a good idea, because if you have to bring a big unruly dog into the elevator, for instance, and that door closes in 20 seconds and hits this dog with an injured hip in the butt, that's not a good thing either.
Yeah, I guess. So you're saying this one is the best one. So you push the door open, and it will remain open until you physically release it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Right, Rich?
Okay.
I didn't say it was the best one. A lot of people like the T-handle because when you pull it off the hold open position, you're not stressing the door, the frame, and all of the welded components or whatever is there, the mounting method, by yanking it off of a friction style hold open. It's more gentle on the installation. You mentioned elevator. Is this a fire door?
It's a unique condition. It's on the ground grade. It's on the exterior ground level on the sidewalk, and there's an elevator that we just created an entrance. So we didn't want people to just kind of be able to go in the elevator. So we have a swing door, 36-inch swing door in front of the elevator opening, and it's fire rated, and we need an automatic closer, but we want to hold open to allow, people in a wheelchair to be able to come in. And it's going to be kind of operated manually. At least that's what we were told, how the building wants to use this. So we wanted to hold open. The door is set to open at 180 degrees. We have, a facade that's going in front of us where we have these 5 by 12 wide throw hinges as well, and so it's a little more complicated than what we wanted. but that's the condition.
It's
And so
fire
we,
rated
you
door?
know, the person in a wheelchair has to have the time to go in. So in a way, I like it because you could just it'll stay open. I'm just concerned that we want to make sure that, you know, the door will eventually close, but it has to be done physically, I guess, manually. That's my only concern there.
Is it a fire rated door?
It's a fire rated door. The frame is fire rated, and of course the hoistway doors are fire rated.
So this device cannot. I'm not the code police, but this device can't be used on a fire door.
Yeah, I know. I know that the hold open contradicts the automatic close, right? That's why I thought that there were other devices that they were adjustable in the time of how long it would stay open.
Right. I mean,
but this device can.
You're just going to need to, you know, bring in. You're going to need low voltage hardware to make that happen. So who's going to start the countdown? You know what?
Yeah, that seems even more complicated.
Yeah.
So if this isn't set, the door will just not stay open, right? You could activate it where it doesn't stay open.
No, it will activate when you open up the door to a certain degree. So I think you'd set it at the full 180 max. So somebody would have to open it up all the way to 180 before the door would hold open. Is that correct, Rich?
Exactly. Well,
okay,
it would hold open at the point that it was templated at. It can go to 180. So if it's templated at 160, you know, I know that you need 180. I understand that, but I'm saying it'll just hold open at the point it's templated at.
Okay.
Okay, but you could set it at 180, and then it'll stay open.
Yes,
180.
Yeah, that closer can go to 180.
Okay, so that's kind of what we want. That's what we're trying to achieve, let's just say. We're trying to achieve that the door will open 180, and then the hold open device will be activated at 180. And then it will then be closed manually. Otherwise, if it's not activated at 180, it'll just close then, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so then that makes sense, because if someone is coming, you know, we have a panic device on the interior. Someone, for whatever reason, has to push the door open. They'll be able to come out, and then the door will close automatically.
I'm not sure, but Rich, correct me if I'm wrong. It might be a little bit of a trick to template it to hold open at 180 when there's a wall at 180. If there's a wall at 180, I think you should template it to hold open at like 170, 175, so you have a few degrees in there to, you know, actually make the function work. Rich, do you think that's the case?
Yeah, I mean, you're going to need to extend it, you know, slightly past to get it to rest at hold open, but that's just a marginal degree or two. You know, there can be no obstruction from the outside corner of the wall or a perpendicular wall or an unlevel flooring condition. You know, the hardware will go to 180, but if there's an extraneous factor that limits it, then that would be a problem.
Yeah. Okay. No, I mean, I guess we could play with it, right? And adjust it while we're in the field and see what works best.
I think you have to template it.
Yeah, that's right. Once you drill the hole, you're setting it. You'd have to reposition the hardware on the door and on the header in order to change the hold open point.
Oh, you can't. I see. You once it's positioned. I thought there was you'd be able to adjust it. I didn't realize it's a set position. I thought the arm will adjust.
Yeah, and since there's a wall there, I say we probably better go at like 175, so we have 5 degrees to lock it in, you know?
Well, I mean, I guess before we set it, we could see if it works at 180. If it doesn't, then we'll, you know, I guess there's a way to when we're ready to do that, I'm not that concerned about that. 5 degrees.
When you're making holes in doors, you got to make them right the first time.
No, I know, but before you actually set it, I would prefer if we could get it to 180. If it's not going to work, it's not going to work. Then we'll do it like you said. But what my question is, my last question. This is going to work with the Y throw hinges, or that it shouldn't be an issue.
Yeah, that special arm is based on the width of the hinge. So that arm, when they custom fabricate that, they're looking at their paperwork and saying, what's the hinge width? Oh, 12-inch? Yep. Okay, I know what to do.
So it's like a custom made thing?
Oh, absolutely.
Yep.
I see. I didn't realize that. Okay. I guess this is the way to go then, the one that has the...
Okay. Well, I'm going to send this back to Rich with I guess, Rich, these arms, the quote might change slightly based on the arm we choose.
Oh, it's going to change. That SCNS is going to be noticeably more expensive. It also is the highest caliber of duty because it's got that spring cushion in it. It's meant to handle being hyperextended. So if you're expecting any sort of abuse on the opening, this might be a good thing.
I think we should expect.
What is the difference? I guess that since you're on the phone, I was trying to understand what the difference between EDA mount and cush mount is, and then just the parallel arm. I mean, this is still a parallel arm.
Yeah, well,
can you explain that?
Yeah, an EDA arm is nothing other than it's all parallel arm mount. So when you get a closer, you can get it tri-packed. You've probably heard that term, where you can install it any one of the three ways, parallel arm being one of them. If you say, well, I don't want a tri-pack closer because it's going to be a parallel arm mount, you would order the EDA arm. It's a more robust version of a parallel arm installation. When you want to have a large block of steel up in the parallel arm portion of the closer that has a spring behind it so that if someone hyperextends the door, it's that spring compressing that's taking the abuse and not the door, the frame, the hinge, the screws, the wall, taking the abuse. So that's the advantage, and that's why you see them in schools all the time, especially with the T-handle. Having said that, you may not need the spring cush. You may not need the spring cush. I
was just going to ask that question because if there's a big cost difference, maybe the cush arm, the cush mount is overkill. Maybe the EDA mount will work.
Well, what you would get would be you would get a version of a parallel arm bracket with the T-handle control to release the hold open that doesn't have the integrated block of metal in the spring.
The CNS.
Yeah.
Which model would that be? Which model would that be? So.
Yeah, Rich just said it's CNS. It's not SCNS. The difference between those two is not very great. The difference between an EDA and a cush is where you'll see the difference. Well, a cush hold open, actually.
So do you think we can use the EDA mount then? In this
EDA
condition?
is not hold open.
EDA is not hold open.
Yeah.
So
now you can
EDA
do a hold open.
is a parallel arm with a closer, but it's not going to have a hold open.
Yeah. Now you can do a hold open version as a parallel arm mount, but it's a friction style, and that would be certainly less expensive than the T-handle style, but it's just a principle of friction. Now, the interesting thing about that is you can set the degree of hold open after the arm is installed, and you just adjust how tight that nut is. But old-timers like us, we know those friction hold open arms are a hassle down the road because the door gets hyperextended, and then you can't pull it off the hold open. So
if it's hyperextended, because they're prone to break.
You've got two nuts that you're tightening against each other, And when you tighten that
Mm-hmm.
hard enough, you need an awfully big wrench to get one of those nuts loose.
I was saying, John, it's easy. It's less maintenance issues with the T-handle.
Yeah.
It's a little more
Okay.
user-friendly for the building.
No, I know. You want as least maintenance and easy to operate as possible. I'm just concerned how much of a cost difference it's going to be that the client is going to freak out.
Well, we'll give it to you both ways if you want, I guess. I don't know.
Well, it doesn't seem what you're saying that the other one is a maintenance issue that, could eventually wear and then not work, and you have to replace it anyway. So,
Or we adjust it.
Yeah, and then you're buying a whole new custom arm again. So it's...
Yeah, right. So I don't want to do that either. All right. Well, I guess this is the way to go. We'll adjust it. So, again, it's only activated once it's fully set. If you set it to 160, then it will, or if you set it to 180, then the hold open will be activated. And it will only be deactivated manually. You have to unscrew it. That's okay, because if you're normally operating the door from the inside and you're pushing out, the door will automatically close, right?
Yeah, unless you go through the trouble of going all the way 180 degrees, which is highly unlikely.
Then it stays open, and as long as they know, hey, I have to make sure I close it, which I think, I guess we should go this way. Even though people say, oh, we're never going to use the door, I've heard that many times. And then, not just with doors, with anything. Oh, we're not really using this space that much. It's only going to be used once a month, and then they're there every day,
right.
Using it. So, I guess this is the way to go. What's the cost difference going to be? I know we could return the other one, but how much are we talking here?
I've got to quote it. I don't have any of the figures in front of me.
All right. Okay, well, thank you for your time. Thanks, Rich. I guess this is the one we're going to go with. So, and it's going to be designed with the wide throw hinges in mind, the 5x12, and it's going to work, I hope.
Did it?
Okay, good. That's what I want to hear.
It is. So did we say we're going to go with the SCNS or the CNS?
What's the difference? The SCNS or the CNS? Okay.
The S version has that block of steel with this heavy spring behind it that absorbs any hyperextending.
Okay, and the CNS doesn't have that. Do we think that's necessary?
I'm tempted to say it's not.
You think it's not?
Yeah, because abuse on a door is going to happen at 60 degree, 80 degree, 110 degree, but that far out, I mean, you're going to be so close to parallel to the wall that who's going to really try to push on it even further than that?
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's overkill. So we could go with the CNS. Is there some kind of savings with that?
Marginal, yeah. It's less expensive. Not largely. It's the small upcharge to go to a spring cush.
Well, if it's just marginally, then why not just get that one? I mean, I don't know what marginally means, but
it's already a very expensive closer, and going to a spring cush is not. It's not going to have. It'll be a very small.
All right.
Single-digit percentage.
Right. No, but that's what I'm saying. If it's just marginally less expensive, then why not just go with the SCNS?
Well, I mean, in your instance, you've got one opening, and quite frankly, from a hardware specifier's perspective, it doesn't serve what the application requires. So we would disqualify it because it's not, the application doesn't call for it. If you've got 100 of these openings, yeah, that little marginal really adds up. But in this instance, I don't see where it would hurt, but I also don't feel it's necessary because I don't.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
works in a school where you got kids that push the door open beyond its capability. You got to get out there and you got to push it into the wall real hard to try to do any damage, and then even then, the wall prevents it from swinging past its.
Yeah, you're not going to go. All right, so then just do what we need. The CNS is probably fine then.
And you can put a $10 stop somewhere if you really think that's going to happen.
There's a wall there, though.
No, there's a wall there. We don't want it to hit the wall because then it'll mess up the wall and the door. That's why we have the hold open. That's the purpose of the hold open, is to have it so you don't have to put a stop or a physical latch with the hook. I don't want to do that either. That's the purpose of the hold open, is to keep the door open when you need it, and which would be, a minute or two, and then it will just enough time to get into the elevator and then close it, right? I mean, they could also decide, I don't know how they're going to use it, but they could also decide to keep the door open the whole day if they want to, and then when they're not, at the end of the day, they could also close it. But I would prefer that they didn't do that, but I don't know how they're going to use it, But, all right, so I guess it's not necessary to go for the scush, as it's in the parentheses there. We'll just go with the HCUSH.
All right. Awesome. I think we're getting there. Thank you, John.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So try to.
Architectural Builders Supply hopes you have enjoyed this program. So as it turned out, the factory cannot do the sort of cush-style hold-open arm, the T-handle hold-open arm, on that 12-inch wide hinge when you have a 180-degree opening. The only arm they could do was the typical H arm. When pressed for the reason why, they basically said they just can't get the dimension to work there. Obviously something to do with the arm design. I'm just not sure what would prevent that from happening. It must be the point of hold open. The forearm not able to get to that part of the parallel arm bracket that will allow it to hold open would be my guess. But with a friction style nut in a hold open, you could tighten that or loosen that, and that tightening that or loosening that is what determines the point of hold open. So that would be my guess as to why that occurred. You could hop into the LCN catalog, into the 4000 series, and look at the cush hold open style arm, and then just the regular H or friction style hold open arm. Anyway, a neat thing. It's been 2 or 3 weeks. I've not heard back from the client, so I don't know what they did. But I know that I don't like doing all the research and contacting the factories and having them do the engineering work to just have someone else monetize the order. For the 5% I may be higher. The old Albanian saying is a hungry bear doesn't dance. So a hungry bear doesn't dance, people. Feed your bears. Thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up. Please subscribe and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.